my grandma, she was the healthiest person I've ever met in my life. Like, never smoked, didn't drink, like, she did everything right. Like, she lived her life very healthy. And even in her work life, she went to work every single day, worked at the same job for 30 plus years. She never called out sick. She did everything right, and she saved up tons of money, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And to the point that she was able to retire early, like 3 months early. And her husband were gonna buy an RV, and they were gonna travel and like finally live out and enjoy her golden years. And she went in for an eye exam, and they found a lump behind her eye, and they did a full body scan and found out that she had stage 4 lung, bone, and brain cancer. And it was like, in a matter of moments, like her living her life the right way, like none of that mattered, because she, like, the golden years that she was waiting for weren't promised.
All right, I think we're rolling. Yay! Hello everybody, this is From Cubicle to Tropical, that little show I do on YouTube every week. And the whole point is to discover different ways to live and work remotely and hopefully inspire you, if you're at a job that you don't like or in a lifestyle situation that you don't like, to change it and become a little bit more entrepreneurial and location independent. And today I'm talking to Kate.
Hey guys!
And I met Kate through one of the Facebook groups, the Bali Nomads Facebook group, I believe it was?
Yes.
Digital Nomads, Bali Digital Nomads. And basically I was putting a post on there because I wanted to interview digital nomads and hear their stories, because all digital nomads I think have a really interesting story. And she replied, and it turns out that we live, I don't know, 2 minutes away from each other.
Crazy, yeah. Very synchronistic.
Yeah, so we decided to chat today and kind of get her story. So she told me a little bit about herself, and you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, what's up guys? Thanks for the introduction. So exciting to be here. I love what you're doing and what this is all about, because you're totally right. Every nomad has a different story. So a little bit about me. I'm 24. I'm originally from Wisconsin and moved to San Diego after I graduated and wanted to just kind of live on my own, live freely, and got into a 9-to-5, and immediately at the age of 21 was like, there's no way in heck that I can do this for the rest of my life. And I slowly started making little changes to become more remote, and now I have been digital nomad for since January. What is that, 6 months? 6 months now. So yeah, it's been a journey. It's been fun.
Tell us a little bit more about that whole thing. Like, why was it not really suiting you anymore? Like, what was that lifestyle like? And how did it become frustrating? And
so I think it's so funny. I've had this conversation before, and I think it's about my friends are always like, you're such an only child. I am an only child. They're like, you're just bratty. Like, you just want what you want, and that's just it. And I think that's kind of what it is. Like, I always had this deeper vision of I can't see myself settling down with one job for the rest of my life. Like, I have all these ideas that I want and all these passions that I want, and picking a career and staying in it seemed like such insanity to me. So I ended up going to college for early childhood education. And I love kids. I've worked with kids before. I've been a nanny. I've worked at child development centers. And I've loved it, but the idea of doing that one thing forever in one location forever was insanity to me, you know? And I just had this restless feeling that there has to be another way of doing it. There has to be a way that I can do what I want and make an income. And I just slowly started making those shifts. I dove into affiliate marketing for a while. And then I took what I learned from that and started creating my own offers and kind of sinking into who I am and what I have to offer. And it's been a roller coaster from there, and it's just been unfolding one step at a time. So
were you were in a stable job at one point? Is this?
Yeah, I mean, I was a nanny. So I did a child development center for almost 2 years, and that was fun. And then I was like, this is way too structured. It's way too structured, and I was making more money as a nanny, so I did that. So it wasn't traditional 9-to-5 that I left. But it was still I was clocking in somewhere every day. They were creating my schedule. They were creating my pay. And then I would clock out.
Where was this?
This was in San Diego.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I was making a decent amount of money. I had a place in Ocean Beach.
Yeah.
You've been there. And it was beautiful, right? But I was spending $2,000 a month on rent. Yeah. And I was going to a job to make money to pay for the place, to go to a job, to make money to pay for the place. And it was like, I saw myself getting in this loop of like, okay, if I don't break this is going to continue forever, you know? And like, I don't want this to be my life. So I took a huge leap of faith and just like quit and like dove all in with affiliate marketing. And it's been like riding the waves of like figuring that out since. But
yeah, it's that kind of big city loop hamster wheel.
Oh my God, yeah.
Thing that everybody falls into.
Yeah, and you know, like you're from LA, like it just happens, you know, like you get a job. And I think too, like a lot of people think that success is having like a fancy house, and it's having a lot of money, and it's having a nice car, because like that's what everyone tells you is what is success, you know? But like it isn't, you know? Success is like being fulfilled in how you wake up every single day, and like being content with who you are and what you have. And that to me just wasn't about a house. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about those things. So yeah, it's been an interesting shift.
So what was the turning point for you?
Okay, so we all have this like idea that time is promised, and I think that if I wouldn't have ever shifted out of that, I'd still be in that cycle. So my big why moment was my grandma. She was the healthiest person I've ever met in my life. Like never smoked, didn't drink, like she did everything right. Like she lived her life very healthy. And even in her work life, she went to work every single day, worked at the same job for 30 plus years. She never called out sick. She did everything right, and she saved up tons of money, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And to the point that she was able to retire early, like 3 months early. And her husband were gonna buy an RV, and they were gonna travel and like finally live out and enjoy her golden years. And she went in for an eye exam, and they found a lump behind her eye. And I did a full body scan and found out that she had stage 4 lung, bone, and brain cancer. And it was like, in a matter of moments, like her living her life the right way, like none of that mattered, because she, like the golden years that she was waiting for weren't promised, you know? And it didn't matter how much money she had in the bank. It didn't matter like how well she did things. Like she didn't have a healthy body anymore. And I moved back from San Diego, and I was her caretaker for 9 months, and it was the most transformational, magical 9 months of my life. And
how long?
9 months. Wow. It completely shifted the way that I see everything, and it shifted the way that I feel about like purpose and like what it means to really like be happy and live. And I just like, I couldn't imagine living my life like waiting for another moment, you know? Because I realized at that moment, like we're never promised anything. No matter how right we do things, like all we ever have is right now. And I promised her, and I promised myself that like whatever felt right for me, even if it seemed irresponsible to anybody else, like I'm gonna do that, because we only have this moment, you know? So
I think that was the most powerful, like transformational story that got as an impetus to start living life on your own terms that I've ever heard so far. I used to call it deferred living, because I feel like that's what we buy into in like a lot of big city kind of lifestyles.
Definitely.
Is that like, okay, well, of course there is some measure of deferred gratification that all of us kind of need to have, but I think the lifestyle that you have in a big city like LA, it takes it to the extreme. It's like you're gonna work for whatever 50 years, or I don't know, whatever 40, 50, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then yeah,
too many.
And then you're gonna be able to live like that's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't think enough people are like questioning that. You know what I mean? Like, because we're just told that. Like, we're told, like, you go to school, after school, you go to college, you get a job, you get a house, you do things a certain way.
Right.
And that means you're successful. That means that you're doing it right. And that means that you'll get to enjoy your golden years. But, like, who says? Like, who says and who knows if the golden years are coming? You know what I mean? And I think that unless you've experienced something that's shaken that belief, you don't really question it. You know?
Yeah,
you don't question it, and you get stuck in that loop.
Yeah, I think you don't question it because you just don't know that there's any other option, really. Actually, maybe you don't even question the option. You just think that this is just the way that it is. That's definitely how it was for me.
Yeah.
Because you literally are so in that the matrix, quote unquote, that you don't see any other options outside of that. Like, this is just what I'm supposed to do, and I'm doing it.
Yeah. As if, like, life is out of our control, in a sense. you know?
Yeah.
Like, we don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
And it is, like, I think so first, there's like layers to this, right? At least there was for me. First was like understanding, like, I don't want to live this way. And I know that, like, my belief now is that I only have this moment, right? Like, I only have this moment and I want to honor that. So how can I shift my life to match that? And it started with mindset. It started with, like, okay, what beliefs do I have that don't support that life, right? And I had the belief that, like, I had to be working a job to be financially secure.
Right.
I had that belief. And I had to shift that. Otherwise, like, there's no way I could create an income from my laptop. You know what I mean? I had a belief that unless I was working 40 hours a week, I would never be able to travel. I had a dream, or I had a dream. I had a belief that, you know, it's just, there's so many things that you have to kind of shift. And it comes down to, like, I totally lost my train of thought.
It was your
It was I had a dream, lost
got
it.
caught up in the dream.
I got caught up in the dream. But ultimately,
It was
like,
the shifting of mindsets, like the beliefs that you had to drop basically
Yes.
in order to
Yes.
shift your lifestyle.
there's so many beliefs, and it's like, we have the choice, power of choice, there it is.
Yeah.
We have the choice to, like, be aware to these decisions and choices that we have, or we can, like, fall victim and be like, life is happening to me, right? And like, I have to go to work and I have to do these things, and, like, I don't have a choice in the matter.
Yeah.
Or you can be like, yo, like, do I really need, like, this $2,000 a month house?
Right.
And if not, like, if that doesn't change my worth, that I don't have this nice house, maybe I can, like, start shifting things, you know? And it comes down to, like, what are you willing to do and shift to kind of create the life that you want?
Yeah,
So-
totally. I think one thing that encapsulates it so much for me is that there's this story about, and sorry if this is cliche, but there's a story about the Native Americans in South America when they first saw the Spaniards, like, coming in their ships and stuff. They had never seen ships like that before in their lives. So it actually took them a few days for them to even start to figure out what was on the horizon.
Yeah.
You know, they might have just seen some, like, odd shapes or whatever, but it took actually days for their minds to change for them to see, like, the reality of these ships. And I think that's the same case for people that live a very traditional lifestyle. It certainly was
Yeah.
for me. Is that it wasn't even a question of, like, what choices do I have? I didn't even know choices existed.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it's just like I was just so in that box where I was basically believing everything inside that box that I didn't know there was even a box to begin with. So I just kept doing what I was doing because I said, okay, well, this is step one, then the next is step two. It was just completely this linear thing. And so I think, as you were saying, is when you make that big mindset shift, that's when the other opportunities actually start to open up for you.
Definitely.
And unfortunately, for some of us, it's like a huge wake, or fortunately, it's a huge wake-up moment, like what you had.
Yeah. And I've thought about that, you know, like, and it's crazy, like, every nomad that I know, everyone that I've met here, at least so far, that is, like, gung-ho, they're in it, like, they've burned the boats, like, they're making this work, they're creating this reality, they have big why moments. They have things that have shifted the way they believe to a point that, like, they can't go back to how they thought before, because it's like that reality that they were living in is, like, broken now.
Yeah.
And they know that something else is open, right? And now they're, again, making the choice to, like, using their power of choice to create something new. But it is, like, and that's so powerful. Like, the fact that, like, a lot of people don't even understand that, like, they're in a box, you know, that, like, they have a power of choice. Like, that awareness of what you just said, like, you didn't even know, not only that you can make choices, but that there was even a choice to be made.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that is really powerful, and I think a lot of people get stuck in that.
Yeah, yep. So take us through that, like, the point that you made the shift, you started shifting your mindset, and then the point that you actually left San Diego and decided to start kind of shifting away the old skin, so to speak.
Yeah, so it was like, again, like, one baby step decision, like, unfolding after another, and I was just, like, trust falling into all of it. And I think it started with my grandma, without a doubt, and she's, like, the mission behind everything. She's my why in everything. And it was like one bold, can I cuss on here?
Of course.
One bold fuck yes decision. And it just started happening. And once I, like, because I think we have a lot of fear, right? Like, we have a lot of fear that, like, like, there's this line of like, okay, this is like the moment where like, okay, we're here and this is safe and like this is where we want to be. And like at this peak moment, it's like, are we going to be bold and like do it and like take the jump, or are we like going to wait for like a better time, right? Like when we're more ready or something's better, we have more money or whatever. And I just like, my why was so fucking strong that I was like, I'm just gonna jump. And it was one choice. I dove head freaking first into affiliate marketing. I invested in a super high ticket product. And I was like, I'm just gonna do this. Like I was at a point where I was like, anyone that is willing to teach me anything about how to make money, like I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna go for it. And I did, and it worked. I was making money and I built this brand, and I was selling this lifestyle, and I was successful. And again, it comes down to like, what is your definition of success? That's really balls, by the way, like I gotta say, because like it's very difficult for someone to really put their money where their mouth is and like get a training program and really invest. You know? But at the same time, it's but then you have so much skin in the game that it's like you have to do it. And I think that's really powerful. Like I burned all the boats. I invested thousands of dollars into this product so I could redistribute it, and I had to at that point, and it like gave me this fire to like I didn't give myself another option, you know. And so I learned, it was a snowball effect. One thing unfolded after another, and I learned so many skills from that. I learned marketing skills and back-end skills and like branding presence skills and like how to build relationships and all of those things. And then I got to a point where I was like, okay, like I'm making a decent amount of money. I did van life for a while. I did RV, I did RAV life. I had a Toyota RAV4 and I took the back seats out and I converted it into a like little tiny home. I had a shower and a cooler and like all the things.
Where was this?
In San Diego with my dog.
Cool.
Yeah, so I did that for a while.
That must have been fun.
It was so fun. So now it's like living out of a backpack. Like I lived in my car, so it's like but yeah, I learned tons of stuff from that. But then I got to a point where it was like, okay, I'm making tons of money. I've built this brand and I have this huge voice and I know how to use it and how powerful it is on social media, but I'm selling something that isn't really me. It's not my story. It's like a product that's like sitting in a box in the corner of my room. Like I'm not even using it. And then it was like another like line in the sand moment of like, okay, like, are you bold enough to do this? Like, are you bold enough to like cut ties with those affiliates and like take what you've learned, harness your fucking power and like take the leap and start your own thing? And it was like so many fucking fear-based conversations. Oh my God, like so many, like you don't have what it takes. You don't have a degree. No one's gonna take you serious. Like so many limiting beliefs that I had to shift again. And it was like, yo, like again, my why is strong enough. My why is strong enough to take the leap and like trust myself and fall into it. So I did. Like prior to coming to Thailand, which was in January, so like 6 months ago, I cut all of my affiliate options. I came here with absolutely no revenue stream at all. I just came here with like what I had in the bank. And I was like, okay, like I gotta do this again, like burning the boats.
There was actually two ties you were cutting. One is you're cutting your revenue stream, and then two, you're also cutting that kind of safety net that you had with this company that you were working with, right? So you no longer have that structure. Now it's like full blown entrepreneurial style, like solo entrepreneur.
Yeah, I felt like a newbie all over again, you know, because I had to like reposition my entire brand. I had to change my messaging, my content. I had to change all of it. It was like I was starting over.
Because you're no longer promoting that product. It's something that you have to create yourself.
So not only am I promoting something else, like I have to create what I'm promoting. So then there was this whole like, okay, what do I actually want? And like for me, that's where the fun part happened. Like that's when it really started. I feel like it really started to grow. Is when I was able to like look at myself and be like, okay, like who am I? What do I really want? What is the message that I want to have? And how do I want to use my voice and my passion? And like, what is my purpose here? Like, if it's not just about making money and like that feels yuck, like what can I create that's like truly who I am and what I want to stand for? Like, what is that, you know? So I created a course. That was the first thing that popped into my mind. Everyone's creating courses. I created a course, but it was very...
That's what catapulted you though, isn't it?
It did. It definitely did. And it all comes down to confidence in yourself. Like, it all comes down to confidence. Because I could have, and I did. I so did. I was like, there's so many courses. I wanted to create a mindset course. Because that's what got me here. Like, it had to be mindset.
You took a course in order for you to take that next leap, right? That's what you invested in.
The very first time? No, I bought a product. I bought an Enagic product.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then it came with like a training platform.
Got you.
Yes.
Okay, got you.
So I created a mindset course, and it actually was very successful. And I was like, oh shit, like I actually can like create something of my own and sell it. And then it was like, oh my god, the wheels are like spinning,
nice.
right? Like, because it is, and it's all about like, again, like confidence and like taking bold fuck yes choices.
Yeah.
And then from there, I'm like, okay, and it's like one step at a time too. Is like, you can't think that like you're gonna like start this journey and have it all figured out. Like no one does.
Yeah.
No one like comes into the game and they're like, I'm gonna do this right the first time, and it's just gonna work from the moment I touch it.
Exactly.
It just doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
But like you learn as you go, and you better yourself as you go, and as you're learning and evolving, like you become the expert.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
True.
you find your niche, and you find your thing, and you find what it is that makes you unique, and then you grow from there and you create from there.
Wow.
You know? So it's been fun, and now I do coaching. I do one-on-one coaching, and I have a branding strategy business, which is like the new phase of Relocate to Freedom, which I'm super excited about. And yeah, it was crazy. I was on the phone with my mom yesterday, and she's like, well, what next? And I was like, Mom, like, don't ask me that. Like, I gotta go one step at a time. But it's been fun. I'm really excited.
And those all kind of make sense and fit in with each other. You started with the mindset course,
Yeah.
right? Then obviously there's some people that are going to want to take the next, invest a little bit more, and that would be the one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
And then there's other people who want to
Start a business with that.
Exactly, want to use you as a mentor.
Yeah, who like
Right.
know they have a place at the table, you know?
right.
Like who know like, yo, I have a voice and I have this like fiery passion, and like I just don't know how to put it together.
Right.
And also like being in alignment, because I built a business. Like I've been there, like I built, and you did too. Like creating something and going into a business, but then like reaching success and being like, this doesn't even feel like me. It doesn't feel like what I'm doing is me.
Right.
You know, and having to like rebrand your business. So like
Right.
the whole mission behind this design studio design impact studio is being in alignment from the ground up. Like there's an abundance of money in the world. Like literally, there is an abundance of money in the world. Like own the fact that like what you have to offer is valuable, and like be aligned from the beginning. You don't have to like sell your soul to make money. Be strategic in what you have to offer.
Yeah.
And like do it that way. You know?
Yeah, I want to take a step back because I thought it was really interesting what you said. Like you came here with savings basically,
Yeah.
and you had to do a full rebranding. You weren't entirely sure what you were going to do, as a matter of fact. But you went ahead and created the online course. Did you just reach out to your current list with that course? Because I assume you had already started to build like following and everything.
I did.
Yeah, or did you put it on a platform that had already a ready-made customer base? Or?
So I didn't have an email list, which I should have. Doing that now. Correction. But I had my Instagram. Instagram is a powerful place, man. Seriously, it is a powerful place. And yeah, so I changed the conversation on my Instagram. I'm really big on like storytelling and connecting that way. We chatted about that.
Yep.
It's really powerful to like share your authentic truth and like really be real and vulnerable on that platform, because in return, like you're showing people it's like okay to be human and like go through the waves, and like there's a place, there's space there for that on my platform, and like people really gravitated towards that. So I just kind of shifted the conversation, and it worked the same as an email list, you know? Like there was people in my pool that were ready to hear what I was doing next, which is amazing. And then I created it on ClickFunnels.
Awesome.
I knew about ClickFunnels, and I created the membership site there. And then I had the skills from the affiliate marketing, and I kind of like tied them together, and yeah.
That's really
jumped at it.
Badass.
Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah, that's badass.
Yeah.
Rock star.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on what you said about like turning yourself into a brand, because I think that's something that really became a thing when social media.
So is, yeah.
Yeah, when social media started to blow up and everything, and I think it's really important for people to know that you can turn your lifestyle, your personality, and everything into a marketable product, and run your business based on you, essentially.
Oh, for sure. And that's the thing, like everyone's like, I don't have a following, I don't have this. It's like, you don't need that. You don't need that to get started, at least, right? Like to get started, all you need is confidence in yourself and your story. Because like at this point, like the difference between like a brand is like, we're not all, it's way more conversational and connected It's way more human is what I'm getting at. It's way more human than just like, I have this offer and you're buying it. It's like, well, why are you buying it? Because there's so many offers out there.
Sure.
The difference is like, what does that company stand for? People are conscious of those things. Like, what's the mission? Like, what's the voice? What's the reason? You know? And that's the amazing part about like building your own brand is everyone has their own voice, their own story, their own face of something, their own stance, their own ideas, their own everything. So nothing is really oversaturated. And in you sharing that truth of who you really are and owning like the power that you have and the vision that you have and like spending time building that and nurturing that, it opens up everything. And in you sharing that truth, like you're gonna find your tribe. You know what I mean? So like a lot of people like have this limiting belief, and it's just a limiting belief that since they don't have like hundreds of thousands of followers that they'll never be successful. It's like you just have to be you. Literally, like be you, own you, put a little bit of strategy in there, right? Which you can learn from Google, right? Like you can Google the strategies, like find your niche, and then just be you. Like show up, be confident, and be you, and like you will gravitate your tribe, like without a doubt. I believe that like 1,000,000%.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
100%. And you're gonna attract the people that resonate with your story. You're gonna attract the people that are interested in what it is you have to say.
Yeah. And that's the power of it. Like when you do it that way and you're aligned in it, then you can create what's authentic to you.
Exactly.
And it'll still sell.
Right.
Because you're selling without selling.
Right.
You know, now you're not like out here like, I sell water machines and like I don't even use the water machine. Like there's a shift, and again, it comes down to like, do you own you?
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's like the main thing that I've seen like since being in Bali is everyone here is owning them. It's very empowering.
Yeah.
That everyone here is like, you know what? Like I have my own fire and I'm gonna like own that shit. And like that's why they're successful.
Yeah,
You know? They've tuned into that.
At that point, there's no kind of quote selling in the salesy sense. You know?
Yeah.
Because you sell yourself authentically.
Yeah.
Because what you
because you are your value.
Exactly, you are your value, and essentially you are what you're selling. You're your product.
Hopefully, if you do it right, that is the case.
Yeah.
You know, like if you really do it right and you build your brand the right way, like you're not selling because you're just living and sharing your authentic life, and in that you have your offers, in that you have your products, in that you have your services, and it all kind of just like flows together where you're not sacrificing what it is that makes you happy with how you make money. Like my huge passion at this point is like being able to mesh the two. Because I think we should have both.
Yeah.
Like we have one life. We have one life. And like what's the point of like getting rid of one 9 to 5 if you're still like selling your soul to make a paycheck just in a different country? Like
exactly.
I think we should have both.
Yeah, and
You know?
I think that's the kind of big caveat is that like you don't want to become a slave to your own creation as well. Because you can be an entrepreneur, but you can also be an entrepreneur for maybe not the quote right reasons. You know? You can get into a product because it's really has a huge profit margin, but maybe you don't fully believe in it, and then you're back to burning the candle at both ends again.
Yeah.
You know? But if you do something that is true to you and it's empowering to you, then it creates even more energy to do what you do because passion comes from it.
Exactly. Exactly. Like when there's that fire in it, you're more open to expanding, and like opportunities come in different ways because it's not forced. Like when it's in flow, it's just different and it expands differently. So like I'm all about that.
Yeah.
And that's why like I love what it is that you're doing, because this is your overflow. What you're creating here is your overflow. This isn't forced. This is like you. Like you're so excited, like setting this up and like talking, that it's like amazing. Like I love this, you know? And it just goes to show that like when you're passionate about something and that's the reason you're in it, it fucking works.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like it actually it probably woke me up more than that coffee that I had earlier, you know, because I start off my day kind of sleepy, kind of tired, you know, and the patterns of like negative beliefs like start to come up as they do when I'm like not in a really energetic spot.
Yeah, you're not in the vortex.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's a habit, right? Of like old patterns and stuff like that. I have to get my ass up and get going so that those don't take over. And then as soon as I'm doing this, it's like, wow, you know, now.
Exactly. And that again, like one shift. Again, like the power of choice. Like you could have chose to like get up and be like, I'm in a funk mood. Like I don't feel like recording today.
Sure.
And then that choice would have spiraled into like you doing something else that probably like scrolling Netflix or like sitting around and like not moving your body.
Right.
But instead you were like conscious of like I have the choice, and like I'm just gonna start changing my physiology and changing my mind, and then my actions will change, and then my life change. Like then it just changes. You know, like it's the loop of like what you put out and like who you're being is sent back to you. Like it's just
I think that's such a big part of like making that shift, is that like because there's that loop of once you get into like a not so great mood and those thoughts start to come, then you beat yourself up about having those thoughts, and you're like, oh, I'm so miserable because I have those thoughts. You know, I'm a bad person because I have those thoughts. And then, you know, it's really about saying, okay, this is a pattern that I've been doing. We know it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
We know we have a choice in the matter. We
though,
Me,
like
myself,
seriously, humans, like this is all of us, seriously.
Yeah.
It is.
So I'm gonna sidestep all this shit.
It is. You have to like swipe yourself, side swipe out of that mentality.
Swipe right for yourself.
Ooh, that was a good one. Into something new. You know, you do.
Right.
You do. And that's how you like stop playing victim of like life's happening to me and like, no, I'm fucking creating this. Like I'm creating this and I'm choosing better. I'm choosing better thoughts. I'm choosing better feelings. And in return, I'm creating better actions and results.
Yeah. I wanted to take a step back too. There's something you said that I really liked. You basically said that like you kind of just have to move forward and don't think that you're gonna have all of your ducks in a row.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Before you need to take a step forward, because I think people, especially very organized people and like very risk averse people like me, they want to have everything like perfectly planned, you know, like, and until that everything's perfectly planned, okay, I see the end result and I see every step along the way, then you're not going to take a step.
Yeah.
But the problem is that like without taking that first step, you actually don't see the next steps available, because it takes that first step to kind of see the vantage point, you know, like if, without moving to Bali, for instance, for me, I would never have seen the other possibilities that opened up, and I could not have even anticipated those possibilities had I just sat in my office back home in LA.
Exactly.
You know? So and then that's kind of what you did when you moved to Thailand.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing. And like to some people, my dad, sorry dad, I seem super irresponsible, right? But it's like I trust myself enough, right? And I have like enough grounding and like stability to know like as long as I like have one duck per day figured out, right? And like I know where the other one's at for tomorrow, I'm good. Like trying to wrangle all of the ducks is like analysis paralysis to the max, and you're never gonna be able, because like there's no way you can anticipate where all of them are gonna be, and you're gonna spend all of your time, I love that, like, and I'm gonna use this analogy, like you're never gonna be able to gather all of these little ducks because you're never gonna know like what's happening along the way. Like you're never gonna know like how that line's gonna go or what's gonna be affecting the line. So it's like you can't think so far ahead, even though like society's like have a plan, know what you're doing. But really, like, we never know that. Even in a job, like, you could get let go from your job or something could happen. Like, you never know, even if you think that you do. So, like, not starting a business or not chasing your dreams or not pursuing your life now just because you can't, like, pinpoint exactly what every step is going to be is madness. Because you're never going to know. Like, even now, like, again, like, I only can, like, pinpoint 2 ducks. I got 2 ducks right now, but they are locked down because I've been warned, like, hey ducks, like we're gonna be going this way, and I've been like teaching them to stay in line so they're in order. But I don't need them to all be in line. You don't need it. You don't need it to start.
Yeah, there was something that somebody Tom Bilyeu posted on his Instagram. He said that like the entrepreneur's vision of like how their career is gonna go is kind of like this, you know, this like line that goes like steadily upwards, you know. And he's like, yeah, exactly. And it's actually a huge crevasse, you know, then up again, then like, oh my god, disaster, and then nothing for a while, and then up again. It's
so true. And it's like, that's the beauty of it though. Like that should be exciting and part of the journey. And if you think that's scary, like switch the belief. Switch the belief, because then you'll always see it that way. Whereas like life is always like that. Life is always like up and down, you know? Like you might as well be like creating it and living it your way, and then like having someone else tell you, you know? We have one life.
Yeah, and I think you gotta kind of trust in the fact too, we talked about this earlier, in that, dude, you're gonna find something to eat, you know what I'm saying? Like let's not go all the way to like
you're gonna like
fear spot,
starve,
you know?
and like lose limbs, like somewhere. You're gonna make it. Like you trust me, you have enough survival skills and like self-awareness to like figure it out. Like you figure it out. And I think that's the thing, is like a huge shift for me has been trusting myself that when I didn't have a choice, I would figure it out. You know? And like really sinking into that. Like, yeah, I don't always like, I didn't have nearly as much money in my bank account that I thought I needed to move here. And I'm fine. Like I'm totally fine, you know? And it's like, it came down to confidence and trusting myself that if it got to that point, I would figure it out.
Yeah, and this is something I mentioned before. It's like when I first took that step as well, when I moved to Bali, my agenda was just 6 months. and I didn't know what I was going to do after that, you know, and I just had some savings and stuff, and I literally had no clue what I was going to do, kind of in a similar boat as you. And now it's 4 years later, and like magically one opportunity just opened up after the next and opened up after the next. And you know, I'm in a transitional point again right now. Like, you know, I'm loving what I'm doing and stuff like that. But it's not like YouTube is paying me millions of dollars or whatever, you know what I mean? But I trust the fact that but I trust the fact that I really enjoy it, and one thing is going to open up after the next.
Exactly, and it always does.
Yeah,
it always does, and that's the thing. Like, you see the beauty in that, right? And like you've like surrendered to that.
Right.
You've surrendered to that. I was listening to Abraham Hicks this morning, and she said, like, think about the fact that like everybody loves nature, right? Like when you're feeling stressed and you're feeling overwhelmed, like everyone's like, I just want to go in nature. Like there's something about it that's calming and soothing and grounding. And what it is, it's that nature isn't resisting.
True.
It's not resisting anything. It's surrendered to being. Like that flower isn't thinking, oh my God, that flower looks way better than me. Like I should not bloom right now. Like I should not bloom because what if they see, or like that tree right there, like
there's
it's probably looking at, there's too many flowers, it's oversaturated. Like they're not resisting, they're just being. And that's why it's so peaceful, because they're in alignment.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's part of like this whole, for me at least, and for you, is like surrendering to it. Like it falls into place because we're just being in alignment. We're just being. We're not forcing it. We're not resisting. We're just like flowing through the waves, like one duck at a time, and like life's unfolding.
Yeah. So how do people find you and find your business?
Yeah. So you can find me in Shanggu or on Instagram as Relocate with a K. Get it?
Yeah, I love
Relocate, yeah. When I thought of that, I was like, that's the most clever thing
awesome.
ever.
I got
and
it
no one
straight
gets
away,
it.
and I'm like,
Nobody gets it. It's like,
really?
what's your name?
I saw it straight away, I'm like, wow, that's nice.
Yeah, so Relocate to Freedom on Instagram, on Facebook, and starting a YouTube. You've inspired me, this setup. Like, I've been wanting to do YouTube for a while, and it's, again, fear-based conversations, but...
Oh, you're so for it. Like, you have so much energy.
Thank you. But yeah, Relocate to Freedom on all the things.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. Which camera am I looking at? Thank you for joining us. Like,
it has been so fun.
It's been super fun.
Oh my gosh.
Like, such an inspiring conversation.
Such a genuine soul. Seriously.
Oh, likewise.
Seriously.
And even if the cameras weren't on, I would have enjoyed it. Like,
oh my God,
anyway,
yeah.
So
definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
And we'll see you in the goo.
Adios, guys.